Gazbot here once again in the desert. My voice is, no, I'm fine. I had a little bit of a scratchy throat, but I'm okay. So last week, print week. I didn't finish a single print. I got my gold art print like 90% done. I just had to finish the colors mostly in the background. And I was tempted to keep working on that, but I didn't because, hey, it's time to work on the Horror A4. Now, it is Wednesday morning. Have I been working on the Horror A4? Sort of. Monday I did. Yesterday I did not, and today I have not so far because a friend of mine from out of town is visiting today, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And so, yeah, I'm spending time with him when I have free time. So, but yesterday, Monday rather, I did spend a few hours working on the Horror A4. Unfortunately, most of that was getting files together, as I had previously said. And I seem to be missing files. Now, I'm not panicking that they're gone forever, but what had happened is in the last year, I've moved and I've gotten a new computer. So I have the computer I have with all the files on it. Then I have a backup of my old computer, and we had a storage, I'm not good at technology, it was like a Ready NAS. It's like a backup where I'd put all my big files that I wasn't working on or finished projects or things like that. And we have that now moved over. So I have 3 locations where these files could be for the pages and stuff. And I found a lot of them. I have 70% of them maybe-ish. But some of them, it's like I have a JPEG of the finished art for page 6, let's say. It's done. It's 100% done, and I have a JPEG proving it. But I can't find the Photoshop file. Not going to worry about that right now because the art's done. Hopefully it'll turn up, and if not, I'll figure out if I can somehow use the JPEG. Page 5 also I know is done, but I have, for some reason, I guess I had made JPEGs of individual panels, but I can't find the whole page JPEG, and I can't find the PSD. These are examples. Other pages, I have the PSD, and I have like 5 versions of it, and it's all fine. Other pages, I can't find anything but the rough, even though I've at least done the pencils. So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of places to look for these files. I have multiple folders and versions now of like the script, and I'm like, which one is the updated one and stuff like that. So, unfortunately, because it's been a while, because I'm disorganized, and because of the move and a new computer and the backups we did, I'm mostly confident that it will all be found and sorted out, but I'm disheartened by the fact that this is what I'm going to be doing with my time this week when I could work on it, as opposed to just jumping into the art. But I am excited to work on it, and I'm excited to get back to my print, so we'll see how it goes. Next week, I will be getting back to, next week will be whatever I want. And if I want to keep working on the horror, then I can. If I want to finish the print, I can. If I want to do neither, whatever. So I like that flexibility there. So far, the plan is working. I'm like halfway through week 2, and I'm feeling good about the plan, even though I've technically not got any work done on what I'm supposed to get work done on this week. But that's this short update that I'm just... Hey, Gazbot. Okay, so today is the 29th, Monday, of 29th of what? August. This is the beginning of week 3 of that new cycle of art stuff I was talking about. So week 1, do prints. I worked on that gold art print, didn't quite finish it, but made progress. Week 2, work on the Horror A4. So what happened? Did I get any work done? No, but yes. I wanted to finish up the print, but I didn't. What I did was try to work on the Horror A4. But as I had alluded to in the past, the files are kind of semi-missing. I hadn't really worked on the horror in the new house to any great degree. And when I went to try to find all the files and put them together, the files that were on my computer were incomplete. And I'm still not complete as of now. There's another place to look. This like online backup, but I'm going to need help with it because I was trying to navigate, like even I found some stuff like that might be it, but how do I open just that one thing without downloading the whole thing? Maybe I have to, I don't know. So to recap where I am with the book and work, issue 3 through 5, it's all written. Issue 3 is what I'm on. The writing is done. The roughs are done for all pages. And I couldn't remember, I thought all the pencils were done, but I'm like, well, maybe some are done more than others. My level of penciling could be like a bit more than roughs to like almost inks, depending on what's going on. But I knew I had some level of work beyond roughs up to pencils for the whole book. And I had inked a good chunk of the first, let's say, third of it. And that all holds true. And I found low-res JPEGs of some of the inked pages and with the gray and everything, and I have most of the lettering done for my letterer, if not all. I have to double-check that. But what'll happen is I have a folder that's like page 5, and it'll have a low-res JPEG of the inks without the gray, and like the PSD file will just be of the roughs, and that'll all be that's the only thing in there. And so I've been trying to piece it together the most, and it's my own fault. Well, it's partially my own fault. My organization has never been great, and sometimes I have multiple folders with the same name, or I'm like, well, which is the most up-to-date version of the script, etc. But these are problems I usually deal with having all the files, and like takes me a while to figure out what I'm looking at. But now having the files in 3, maybe 4 different places when I put them together, I'm like, which is the right one? So then I get multiples, and I'm still missing a lot is the point. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to forget about getting the whole book together. I'm just going to look at the first couple pages. 1 through 4 seem to be done. Hopefully I could find the PSDs. 5 seems to be done because I have in the folder for 5 is a bunch of panels that are done, inked, grayed, and everything, but just individual pieces of JPEGs. I don't even have a full like a page JPEG. I don't know why. So I don't know where 5 is. But again, done. 6 is done. 7, I think, is in progress. 8 is in progress, and I forgot what 9 is. So I was like, well, I don't know what's going on with those. I'm going to pick a page. Oh, on my iPad, another place I found some copies, because I guess I put stuff on the cloud and put it on my iPad to work on at some point. And so I was like, I'm going to pick a page past 9, because I know I hadn't worked on anything past 9. And I'll just do that. So I grabbed the page and I started drawing, and it was like a really roughs. Like they nobody would call these pencils, but they were layouts, they were roughs. I'm like, well, let me tighten these up to pencil at least. And so I started doing that, and I spent like an hour on a couple different parts of it. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to get some reference to see because it's in continuity. And I'm like, what was this building? What did it look like? What was that character wearing? That kind of stuff. And I was doing that, and then in between, I was looking for the files again, and I found some unusable files. They're low-res JPEGs that are flattened, so they have they're essentially tight pencils of the thing that I was just penciling. So that work is done. The work that I thought didn't need to be done, because even though I hadn't done inks past that, I thought I found, well, this is the level it was at, but no, I had done a whole pass where I tightened it up already. I don't know where that file is. What I have is a JPEG of the tightened up version, flattened onto the rough, so there's a bunch of extra stuff in the background, with rough lettering on top of it. So it's just this like work file that I had sent to somebody, like, hey, what about this? Or I just for some reason made completely unusable. I guess worst case scenario, I could take that file and try to like redo the pencils on top of it or ink from it. But clearly there are more advanced, in terms of how much work I got done, versions of all of these pages that I either at best have found low-res JPEGs of, or at worst not found even that. So that's where I am. So now we're at week 3. Today is the beginning of week 3, where I could do whatever I want. My first thing I wanted to do was finish the gold art print and then see where I went from there. I thought maybe I'd be on a roll with the Horror 4. Clearly I'm not. So I'm going to enlist aid of someone with more tech savvy than I am to try to get those files for the Horror 4. I want to get those together, and I'll probably have a big old ball of files that I'm not going to deal with, but at least if I know I have them, and then I could say, okay, when I'm ready to work, I'm going to start working on page 7. Here's the PSD file. Here's exactly how much work I've done. Here's what I have to get done left. Once I get to that, then I will finish the gold art print and see where I am in the week. And next week, I'm back to prints again, so this is a weird week. And I kind of feel like this method has been a failure, but I'm not going to believe that, because extenuating circumstances. A friend came in from out of town, Power MorphCon was happening, and on top of that, the files were in much worse shape than I thought in terms of finding them. So that's where we're at. I'm going to continue the experiment. This week is the do whatever I want week, so as long as I'm being productive, I'm doing okay. And I was productive the last 2 weeks, just not as much as I'd thought. So just a weird little update. I thought this would be a nice horror production report update. I mean, I guess that's what it is. I will title this Horror Production Report, but the report is, oh man, I got to find a lot of files. I will say the one good thing is some of the images I found from later in the book, it's been so long since I worked on them, I'm like, that's good art. Like, that's better than I thought. When I was looking at the roughs, I'm like, oh man, how am I going to clean this up? I'm like, oh, I did a great job. Past me did a great job. And now I have imposter syndrome where I'm like, ugh, how am I going to take these pencils to inks? Because I feel like somebody else drew them, which... Whenever I'm happy with my work, it feels like someone else drew it. And if I'm happy with my work before I'm done, that's the worst, because now I have to take this art that someone else did and do it as good to completion. And that it's a weird, that's how I work. Anyway, that's me, Gazbot. I guess that's been the Horror Production Report update. And yeah, so I'll try to put up another one of these next week and see where we're at. And hopefully in a better place. Hope you are doing well. All right, goodbye.